Hello, welcome or welcome back to Truthseekerstea. My name is Kate and I'm thankful to have you here for today's pick a card reading. We're going to be looking at what the person on your mind is currently realizing about you. So we're going to start off with some oracle cards and then get deeper into it with tarot. There will be an extended reading as well that's probably going to focus a little bit more on your person's feelings, intentions towards you. However, I'm going to be choosing that topic based on what comes through during your pile. So there are 3 piles to choose from. For pile number 1, we have the Enchanted Love Tarot with this rose quartz palm stone. For pile number 2, we have the Wild Child Tarot with this orange calcite palm stone. For pile number 3, we have the Sacred Journey of the Bees Tarot with this garnerite palm stone. So go ahead and take whatever time you need to tune into the pile you're feeling the most drawn to. I would say that if what I start describing sounds nothing like you or what your person, what would be relevant to your situation, I might try a different pile. I will have the timestamps linked down below in the description box, along with the extended readings and the titles of these decks in case you guys are interested in them. Other than that, I will see you at your pile. Hello, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So we're going to be looking at what has your person recently realized about you. So we're going to be first using some oracle cards that I pre-pulled just right before the reading, and then we're going to be clarifying with tarot. And I would say the best way to know whether or not this is your reading is if this description at least sounds somewhat like a part of your nature. I feel like if I'm telling you what this person is realizing and it's just like nothing like you, then maybe I would pick a different pile. So I actually, what is the name of this deck? The Enchanted Love Tarot and the Rose Quartz Palm Stone, which is so incredibly fitting for the cards that came out for you. I was curious if this is going to happen, but it definitely did. So let me just lay out your oracle cards and then we'll pull out the tarot in a second. There will be an extended reading, and I think for the extended reading, I'm going to go more into like what this person's intentions and feelings are towards you. So if you guys are curious about that, I'll have it linked down below. But for your pile, what your person has realized about you, we have the Offering. Sorry, I just want to see. We have Venus. This came out in reverse, so I just wanted to keep it that way. We also have the Octopus, and we have the Water Element with Sensing here. So these are very there's a very coherent message coming through. First off, you guys may have water in your chart, or at least have Venus ruled planets. Like that could be Libra, Taurus, but I'm also picking up a very strong Pisces energy and Cancer, less Scorpio for the water signs, but definitely water in general. Okay, I'm gonna get a sip of water. Yeah, and interestingly enough, we have the Sea Serpent at the back of the deck for the animal deck, and this is all about the sacral chakra. And so feminine energy is coming through very strong for this pile. Like this is what they're realizing about you is almost the way I would describe someone that has a very dominantly feminine energy. And what comes to my mind immediately is, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but the way sometimes people will describe feminine versus masculine energy is like imagining a cup with water in it, and the water being the feminine energy and then the cup being the masculine energy. So the masculine energy is what gives sort of form and boundary and definition to something, and then the water can flow anywhere, and so it kind of needs that to hold it together. And so, sorry, I just heard a sound that sounded like a FaceTime call, but what I would say is the first 2 cards that came out were the Offering and the Octopus. And so I feel like this person has realized that you're an extremely generous person. I also feel like they're realizing or seeing you as someone that is very romantic and really loves love. Someone that's very sensual. Someone that is warm and not rigid. An extremely open kind of a person. Like this person sees you as someone that would sort of be like an open book. Like you would be open to saying sort of like more intimate things. Like there's a real comfort with emotions. And for example, like you wouldn't be uncomfortable if someone started crying in front of you. I'm just gonna open the window to get more light, but it's like there's a strong empathetic energy to you where it's very easy, because there's this water energy, it's like very easy for you to feel other people and to sort of almost merge with them. And that's a very Pisces thing where it's like kind of that oneness energy where it like you can kind of almost lack like a boundary, but it's like it's that level of empathy though where you almost forget yourself. And by that it's like when you're in interactions with other people, it's like you're not in this, like the opposite of your energy would be sort of like a very masculine energy that is cold. Like the opposite of this energy would literally be like a psychopath. Like think about a psychopath who's very focused on their goal. They don't feel emotions. They do not feel other people's emotions. They don't even understand emotions. And so it's like you're like the complete opposite where it's like you don't really have like a sense of like what are you trying to get out of something. Like there's a selflessness to you. There's like a sacrificial kind of an energy that you have. And I feel like with the octopus, I just kind of want to get this out of the way, is like there's sort of like pros and cons that can come with this energy. And I feel like this person is seeing you a little bit, if we were on a scale of like feminine to masculine and then we have balance, like I feel like you're in 75% feminine, where it might be easy for you to kind of get enmeshed or sort of in messy relationships because of a lack of boundaries. That's what the octopus card kind of talks about. And like the water element though also talks about how it's almost like water can flow right through things. It's like, it's very like, think about versus earth, where earth is a lot more like solid and can't really easily move through boundaries. I feel like you are the kind of person who can kind of see, and like you would be disarming for people because you would sense people's like emotional self. And so it's like, even though a person is in like a whole different like form or body, it's like you still have that energy that can kind of just permeate through your environment and sort of merge with it. And so I feel like this person may sometimes think that you have sort of this energy that is at risk of being like taken advantage of, or where it's like you're so selfless and so generous that you don't see where it's hard for you to tell. It's like hard to say no, and it's hard to see where something is imbalanced for yourself, because it's like you are gonna be the kind of person to be very accepting of other people. Like there's this very strong embrace kind of an energy where it's like you're not judgmental. They're seeing you as someone who's not judgmental, who is gonna see the good in people. Like you're someone who sees the good in people. There's even like a rose tinted glasses that you have, and an ability to romanticize many things. Like you have a very romantic lens through which you see life. And again, it's that Venusian energy. Very sensual. I think you guys are probably very beautiful with Venus coming through, or just like your energy is beautiful. It doesn't have to be any beauty standard, but I feel like that's like there's sort of a charming energy here, a disarming energy. And I feel like instead of using like cold hard logic and having a goal, it's like there's just this generosity and this sense of wanting to create harmony in situations. But because of being so empathetic, it's like that energy of getting wrapped up, entangled in other people's situations and lives, and maybe getting too involved sometimes. Just because, and it's not even intentionally, it's like coming from this place of Like, it's just like, it feels like it's how you naturally are, honestly, but this kind of thing can also come up from, like, if you grew up and like you kind of had to be self-sacrificing, or you were someone that, you know, had to predict like your parents, and so you would always want to be like in sync with other people's emotional situations. Or it could even be an energy of like, yeah, and I'm kind of getting that, honestly, like there could be a history of this. So like maybe you guys have like attracted relationships where it's like you take in like the broken bird, or you don't see how like a relationship is unfair to you or harmful, or it's like this is like crossing my boundaries, or this is like too much for me, you know. And like I feel like for like there can be an energy of like in a relationship where it's like this just like isn't mine to carry, or this isn't mine to process for you. Like I feel like you kind of might process emotions for other people, or yeah, I just feel like there's an over giving kind of an energy here. And I even want to say it's giving like Empress in training, like, and I feel like I've been in this energy before. And it's confusing because you're so sensitive, and it's like you're feeling so much and you have good intentions, but it's like you don't know why like things are getting messy, or like relationships are getting messy. Or you're not getting what you want in a way. It's kind of like that. And so it's like that's where like the masculine energy comes into play, where it's like with Mars energy, that's all about pushing and fighting for your desire, like what you want as an individual. And I feel like with this sort of like Pisces Libra kind of an energy, it's coming through like an enmeshment with other people, but with really good intentions, and with wanting to help other people and wanting to serve, honestly. Like, so I feel like you guys are very, very compassionate people that sometimes forget to take care of yourself, or forget to put yourself first, or like you maybe don't put yourself first. And this card specifically talks about like warning of like being careful that people don't take advantage of your like benign and accepting nature, and to make sure that like just because like you'll see you want to be like, and it's coming from a very genuine place. It's like genuinely you're seeing the best in people, genuinely you want the best. And so it's kind of like it's like the need to go through a lesson where you realize that you have to be loving towards yourself too. And also sometimes what's loving for other people is to sort of protect yourself, and to not take on the emotions of other people, not do their work for them, you know. Like this definitely gives like a healer kind of a group that's maybe still learning boundaries, is what I would say. Yeah. We also have Neptune with sacrifice at the back of the deck. And this again gives me this like dreamy kind of an energy where it's like we're not seeing, it's like not, like think about the Queen of Swords energy, for example, someone who sees things very clearly and very logically. It's like air. Water, it's like, think about how everything's murky underneath water. So it's almost hard to decipher it's hard to decipher the truth of things sometimes if there's like too much water. And it can be easy to kind of get like stagnant, or losing your sense of purpose, or losing, like with fire energy, like losing your sense of purpose, and almost like it's almost like being in a dream, sort of floating kind of an energy coming through, that when it's mixed with other people, it gets confusing almost, is what I'd want to say. It can get sort of messy, is the feeling that I'm getting. But again, this person is seeing that it's coming from a good intended place. I don't know this person's intentions, but that's sort of the energy coming through. You also come through this very colorful kind of an energy, and also intelligent as well. But it's definitely more of a like feminine intelligence. And also it's like you're very receptive, is like what I'm getting. It's like you're very, you perceive a lot, you take a lot in. And again, that's like speaking to like permeability, you know? So I definitely think this group would probably be very like sensitive to their environment. Very loving as well. Okay, so what is pile number one's person realizing about them? What have they recently realized about them? Okay, we have the Six of Swords. All right, we have the Nine of Pentacles. We have the Knight of Cups. We have the Five of Cups with the High Priestess. So a lot more context is actually coming through now. So especially for those of you that are like, I know that I'm like this and like it's something I've kind of become aware of, but I feel like what's coming through already is that I just feel like this person is realizing that you're having to learn how to move forward and to move on from situations that are not positive or toxic in some kind of a way, like almost being forced in a sense where it's like I could see this person seeing maybe situations from your past that you might have gotten tangled up in that became very painful for you. And it's like this energy of having to move forward to better times and just having to like let go and leave it instead of being like passive in it. It's like moving forward. And then I feel like with the Nine of Pentacles, it's like we literally have independence here. And so I feel like it's like this person is realizing that you're on this journey to claim more of your independence. And I feel like with the Five of Cups here, there's this sense of emotional disappointment. And I feel like with the Knight of Cups here, it's like, I feel like this person is seeing maybe where you've been disappointed in love or is realizing that you have been really disappointed in love. And you're someone who might wear your heart on your sleeve and again, like see through the lens of love. It's very easy for you to like express. It's easy if you take action through how you feel is what I want to say, rather than logic or what's grounded. You definitely do it from a feeling place, but I feel like that's led to some level of disappointment. So this person may feel like, or may realize that you've had disappointment in love, essentially. And then with the High Priestess here, I feel like this person views you as very like in tune with, again, like the feminine principle. You go based off of your feelings rather than logic is what I would say. Very intuitive. Can we clarify the Six of Swords, please? All right, we have the Queen of Wands. Okay, we have the Chariot, Cancer energy. I'm really enjoying the twist that this is kind of taking because I feel like what this person is realizing about you, maybe that they didn't understand at first, is that like maybe this is a part of your past, like being sort of this very loving, like Empress like energy. But I feel like here it's like with the Queen of Wands and the Chariot, like that's all about determination and willpower. And the Queen of Wands is again like leadership energy. It's stepping into your confidence and your passion. And the Queen of Wands goes after what she wants and is very independent. And so I'm wondering if this person is seeing that you've kind of had to become this person that protects yourself. And also the Chariot with Cancer, I'm thinking of someone who is very emotionally like sensitive, but also someone that can have a hard outer shell and protect themselves. Can we clarify the Knight of Cups, please? We have the Five of Wands. Can we clarify the Five of Cups? We have the Page of Wands. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles at the back of the deck. Interesting. So I feel like with the Five of Wands here, let me just look at that for a second. Number one, I feel like this person might think that people compete with you. But what I'm seeing here though, overall, is that you've maybe had to learn how to kind of hold your own in the face of competition and to kind of fight or engage like, because I feel like in the energy we were in before, like I would imagine that person sort of avoiding conflict, but I feel like this person sees how you have learned to kind of hold your own. Yeah, and I just almost feel like with the adventure here, it's like this person sees how you've gained a lot of confidence. And I feel like with the Eight of Pentacles, it's like this person is seeing the process you've been going on is what I'd want to say, or how you've been working on yourself is what I'd want to say. And it's almost like seeing step by step how you became the person that you are. Oh, and I'm also getting here though is like with the Page of Wands, it's almost like they're realizing or maybe thinking about you being like this Page of Wands, like where you started, or maybe you've gone down like a new path, like maybe in the past, like you went down like a new path where you were just exploring and you're kind of maybe more naive in the world. And it's like you've kind of had to, through facing competition and sort of facing like the pressures of people and not everyone being in this sort of loving energy, it's like you've kind of had to like love and like you've loved and you've lost, and you've just learned how to overcome opposition and learned how to hold your own through going through difficult times. And it's like that's what's made you into this person that you are, which is like this Queen of Wands. And it's like maybe you wouldn't know that you have this sort of underlying energy. Can we clarify the Five of Wands? We have the Moon here. Cancer again, so Cancer coming through. But I feel like there's this energy of overcoming fears. Also having to realize that people are like, were in competition with you. Maybe having to realize that some of your friends were enemies. Also kind of having to realize that people with the Charmer here with the like Knight of Cups like can kind of be fake, or people can be like manipulative through acting like with the Neptune energy, like being super charming and I don't know, like super suave, but either not, kind of being like a hidden enemy, or like people hide under facade is almost how I feel. And it's almost like you've had to learn to not see things with rose-tinted glasses, and to realize that there's can be murkiness. And it's like, that's why it's so important. You've learned that you have to remain balanced within yourself in order to remain victorious and keep moving forward, to not get caught up in the murkiness of situations. And just again, like knowing how to hold your own, knowing how to see when to not look past where someone's interests are not in your interests, and to not just see the best in them and sort of be passive in a situation. And I feel like with the High Priestess here, it's like you've honed in your intuition as well. And it's like you've learned how to trust yourself and trust your emotions. Even if you can't logically prove it, it's like you're good at seeing through facades now. Because although with that water energy, a part of it can be like being too accepting of other people and almost like they're like where they should be better or should treat you better. It's like another part of that though is like the ability to really listen to your emotions and your intuition and be right. And so I feel like when you're more in that independent energy where your energy isn't so muddled with other people's energy, it's like you're able to see your, even though there might be deceit or things are not as they seem, it's like you're really good at navigating that and seeing, and you'll have a bad feeling about something, and it's like you've learned how to see that instead of getting so muddled in the other person that it's your intuition gets too murkier. It's hard to trust yourself, because I feel like maybe in the past you want to trust other people over yourself, but it's like learning how to, because of being more independent and more locked into your own energy, more stable within yourself, and also doing your own work, and, you know, not relying on other people in a sense, or like, I wouldn't even say relying on other people. I feel like for this group, it would be like learning how to put your energy into your own self and your own development rather than giving it all away. So you can further your own interests and your own purpose in life. But yeah, so this person's kind of maybe seeing, I feel like now in this context, it's like they're seeing the root of maybe where your energy had gone wrong in the past. Or like maybe how you used to be extremely open and receptive and sort of like giving, but now it's like you kind of had to learn through this journey. So yeah, I feel like that's what the person's realizing, but I feel like they're realizing somehow that this is the reason why you are the way you are, or it's like they're seeing your origin almost. So yeah, so for the extended reading, I want to look at this person's intentions towards you. I want to look at what their feelings are towards you. And then I just want to get you guidance on this connection, this person, anything you need to know about them or hear about the connection to move forward. So I'll have that link down below if you guys are interested. But other than that, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed doing this reading. If you're able to hit the like button, leave a comment. Thank you to everyone who does that. And if you want to see future pick a card readings, I would love for you to subscribe. Other than that, it's been an honor to read for you. And thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. If you chose the Flower Child Tarot and this citrine palm stone, or I believe this is actually orange calcite, sorry about that. This is going to be your reading where we're going to be looking at what your person is currently realizing about you. Just want to give a warning, it might be reversed for this pile, but just take what resonates. You of course don't have to watch if you don't want to watch a reverse pile. But it's so interesting. I forgot that the Wild Child Tarot, wow, I'm having like a realization about that. Okay. Such an interesting deck to be used for the cards that came out. So I'm just going to show you guys your oracle cards. So for this reading, we're going to be doing a layout of oracle cards. We're going to go into it and then we're going to get the full picture with tarot, but I am going to start channeling some messages with the oracle cards, but I would encourage you, if it is like at all on topic for you or it's making some sense, wait for the tarot because it kind of gives the big picture of the realization, but I'm going to lay out the cards. So we have the Mouse, which is an earth energy. We have the Eight of Cups, Void of Course Moon, missing. We have the Ocean with Healer in reverse. We have Vinegar. I'm gonna go like this. And then the Sun. Okay, this is a really interesting energy. So what I'm describing is meant to be what your person is realizing about you. But just flip it if it makes more sense for you that way. So I feel like the energy that's coming through is like, I'm getting this very attention to detail, like the kind of person who really likes like busy work, who may be like extremely organized, like sort of critical, likes to have things a certain way, likes to have something to organize or sort out. And it's almost like this is like a part of like their identity, or it's almost like something that makes them feel, I was even gonna say like superior, but it's not superior. It's almost like this is where they get a lot of their confidence from, is like, and so this could be you, but I'm just gonna say that it's like this energy, it's like this energy of getting your confidence from like small tasks and creating order and controlling what you can control almost. And so I feel like this person is realizing that oftentimes this energy that can be very, I want to say like uptight or just like very like can't really stop, like continues to just work at something. And I'm just really seeing someone doing like housework or just like continuously finding something else to do. It's like they like to do that because it's something that is controllable and manageable to this person. And so I feel like this person is realizing that this energy, although they may know how to do a lot, or like they might be very efficient at certain things and even have a critical eye towards other people. I almost feel like there's a strong comfort zone that this person has with that. And it's also like this energy is used as a coping mechanism around where this person actually feels like very small, and feels very like they don't have a lot of power or control in their lives. And it's like, it's almost like there's something from this energy's past that has made this person feel small, or powerless in some way. And so it's so interesting because next to the ocean here, the ocean is like such a huge force. Like it's so big. And this card really talks about being like uncontrollable. And it's something that puts us face to face with something that's so big and so powerful, something that we are not able to control, we're not able to manage in any capacity. And it's like a force that really dissolves our littleness into the bigness, the vastness. So it's like, instead of seeing yourself as like from your point of view, it's like a huge point of view, seeing the really big picture. And it's like, it's also like kind of that energy of when you look out into the universe and like you almost feel really small, or it's like you realize how small your perspective is. So I feel like this person really avoids that kind of energy because it makes them feel very uncomfortable, because it's like they can't, it makes them feel like they're losing their identity that they cling onto very closely. It's like this person really likes things that feel manageable to them. And it's this energy of like not wanting to have to pick your head up very much to see it. It's like this comfort zone of like, I know exactly who I am in this sort of activity or like in this setting. And I feel uncomfortable with things that make me feel powerless, essentially. And so I almost feel like this can manifest in this person's life, like in a couple of ways. But I feel like this person, I could see this person, or this could be you, but I'm just going to say this person, like I could see this energy, let's say that, being the kind of person where there's deeper self-exploration. There's a need to see deeper into yourself. There's a need to explore the depths of something, and to surrender, like, let's say to like a feeling, for example. So I feel like a lot of what gives us emotional intelligence and skills around handling emotions has a lot to do with like surrendering to them and not trying to control them, but just allowing them, embracing them, essentially. So I feel like this is the kind of person who might really struggle with emotions. They might struggle expressing emotions. They might struggle like holding space for the emotions of other people. They're not comfortable with emotions. And so they're the kind of person where like, instead of addressing something that's going on deep within them and getting to the root of that and like doing reflection around it, it's like they're going to stay busy with something else that they feel like they can face or can control. It's like emotions almost scare them. And so it's so interesting because there's a little bit of a cowardly lion energy here where it's like this person likes to feel very like, again, like almost like superior in what they're good at, but underlying there's this truth that they feel like this mouse, that they do that because they're afraid, because they are afraid to face the unknown, what is uncontrollable, what they can't control, what they have to just sit with and submit to almost. And this is also coming through, and if this is your energy, like I hope none of these are offensive. I'm really just trying to describe the energy as best I can, but it's also getting like a small dog barking more, you know, where it's like, it's almost like we do a certain thing not because we actually feel strong, but because we feel weak and afraid. And so I feel like the mouse card really talks about there's like an energy of like having a very limited and fearful view of the world, and liking to stay within what we know, essentially. And so this vinegar card talks about, it's like a tool where it's almost like when vinegar is present, it's like impossible to ignore because it has such a strong smell. And like even a small amount of vinegar is like, you know, it can be, oh, I'm actually getting a message from that. It's like, it's almost like vinegar has a purpose in a small amount, but it's almost like this person feels like they're like afraid of being overpowered and overwhelmed is the way I would describe it. They easily feel overpowered and overwhelmed, but because of that, then they miss out on the benefit of vinegar. So it's like if they almost are afraid of this vinegar energy, because it has that capacity to overwhelm, overpower, take over, we miss out on the benefits of it, which are helping us identify what we need to pay attention to. And so I feel like this person can feel emotions in this way where it's like, it's almost like they ignore emotions or they ignore them because they're afraid of it being overpowering. But it's like the more you ignore it, the more overpowering it becomes and the less skills and ability and experience you have with processing things. And so it turns into this way bigger thing feels way too impossible to face or, you know, manage in some way. And so then it's like this person is in this habit of doing anything they can to ignore emotions or ignore things that they feel uncomfortable with. And so it kind of keeps them in a state of a limited sort of perspective on, they like to stay within what they know. Like that's the best way I could describe it. And like this healer card in reverse is like, the healer energy is an energy of a person that, and I feel like, let me just finish my sentence. The healer energy surrenders to ego death, surrenders to what we can't control. And the ego wants to control. The ego wants, you know, the ego has that, just like everyone's ego has that feeling of like almost fighting what might overpower it or what might might break it down, essentially. And that's why, if anything, like I don't know if you guys have these decks, but there's something called the Drowned King, where it's like there's like an energy of like a very strong ego, and also like the king energy is like almost the embodiment of like an ego, and only through emotion and heavy water it almost like breaks down the ego. And so I feel like this person can be very fixed in their ways and their views and very critical of other people, because they just like to have it the way that they see it. But then with the healer here, but then what happens with this person is it's very difficult for them to heal. It's like then they have these wounds that they are unaddressed and they can't heal because they're not willing to let their ego break, you know? And it's like, and if you guys, I don't know if this is your energy or not, or someone you know that you just are going to hear about here, but I feel like through surrendering and surrendering to not being the most powerful thing in the world, and accepting that that's okay, and accepting our vulnerability and our dark side, our shadow. It's like the ego hates the shadow, like what we can't see, what we can't understand. And so it's like, that's like, so I'm just trying to describe the mechanism that I feel like is being realized here. And I feel like the Eight of Cups, this is a card with Void of Course Moon. This is talking about when there's nothing you can do in a situation besides like wait and just kind of let things play out. Like anything you try to do will likely fail. And so I feel like this person can really struggle with situations that require surrender, require them to not get their way, or it's almost like things go wrong in life, you know, like we can't control everything. Like it can't be up to like our standard of like structure or what we want it to be. And I feel like this person, for example, like might be really hard on that, or like they feel like things should go the way that they are planning them to be, and they feel very afraid of it going any other way. And so they feel the need to control like every small detail, but it's like because of this resistance. And so then they have this difficulty when it comes to surrendering, essentially. But I'm trying to explain the root of that, and it kind of explain that this kind of explains a lot about this person. And it's like, it might explain why they can be so critical or like uptight, and like it can explain that they're just afraid. And even though they might come off kind of like frustrating for people around them, it's like it really is like a fearful sort of a energy. And I also feel like the reason why I thought it was I'm gonna get a sip of water. The reason why I think it's interesting that we have the Wild Child Tarot, and then just at the back of the deck we have the Eternal Child here. I feel like this person has a really difficult time accessing their inner child. And it's kind of sad when you think about it that way. Like, I feel like this person feels very estranged from their inner child that can just kind of play. And like, think about if you have to control every small thing and you're very like results oriented, like you have like a very step-by-step like thing that you're trying to like perfect. It's like that can take a person out of like creativity. And think about how like children, it's like this energy of trying and failing. And I feel like this person can be very like critical on that energy, or like want to be as like efficient as possible. And it's like, that is a huge blockage for this person in general. And I almost feel like with this Saturn card here, like I feel like this person, it's like things are so heavy for them. There's like this heaviness that's underlying. And it's like, while we're trying to just focus on the light and what we can control, it's like we're not dealing with all this baggage, and it's just like a heavy weight to have to control everything. And that's the ego too. Think about how like the ego wants to thinks it knows best, and like, yeah, like the ego thinks it knows what's right and wrong, essentially. And I think this person can get really caught up in that, but then because of that, they might miss out on sort of like the playfulness of life. And I think there's a wounded inner child. And I feel like as well, like the Vinegar card here, I don't know where this comes from, but it makes me sad imagining where this dynamic came from, because I feel like it is from this person's childhood, where this was like a coping mechanism for them. Yeah. Okay. Let's get some tarot now. And I'm just thinking about how like the ego's biggest fear is to dissolve and to not exist. And then it's like, but once we actually allow ego death to happen, it's like so freeing. It's like you feel free. Like it's almost like once you accept that your ego was wrong, it's like at first it hurts, but then it's like really relieving, because it's like it just is a lot of tension in life. It kind of makes you miserable to be living from such an egoic perspective. But this person, it's really coming from like a survival mechanism and a very fear-based place. And I'm also imagining like this person, like, I feel like everyone else around this person might be able to see that there's an obvious problem that needs to be like addressed. And this person will really do their rounds ignoring the real problem. And it's like imagine someone being like critical about something small that they feel like they can control or that they would do better, but deep down they're trying to say something else. Or like the reason why they're criticizing that is because, like, let's say for example, they feel like they're not being respected or something like that. And then there's like a deeper sort of emotional truth. And then it's like, if this person could sit with their emotions and go, you know what, like it really hurt me, like when this person didn't do this thing, because I feel like that like emotionally hurt me. And I feel like instead of like expressing that to another person, number one, because they're not like in tune with it, it's like they default to like criticizing something. So again, it's like they feel like they have to justify their emotions, if that makes sense. So it's almost like I can't just say that something hurt me and ask someone to do something. I have to be right in order for my emotions to matter, if that makes sense. Okay, so What is pile number 2's person realizing about them? We have the Seven of Pentacles. We have Temperance. We have the Six of Wands. We have the Queen of Cups. Can we clarify the Seven of Pentacles? We have the Nine of Wands. Can we clarify Temperance? We have the Hierophant. Can we clarify the Six of Wands? The Three of Pentacles, Justice, Ace of Wands. Can we clarify the Queen of Cups? We have the Star in reverse, and then we have the Page of Pentacles. Okay, I definitely feel like for some of you guys, like, I don't know if this is like a sort of like demanding partner or stuff, or so, I don't know if this is you guys. I just feel like there's a dynamic here where like, I feel like this energy that I'm picking up on, the other person is realizing that this way of feeling like there's a right and wrong thing to do and like maybe telling other people like how to do things is a defense mechanism that this person has. And I feel like Temperance is here because Temperance talks about being able to like flow with your emotions and do alchemy on them and heal them. Like, I feel like this person really struggles when it comes to like their emotions and temperance and healing. And I feel like there's a lot of healing that hasn't been done. And again, we have ego here with the Six of Wands. And I almost feel like there's this energy of like someone realizing that the reason why they feel the need to control things and maybe they like things their way, they feel like that's right. Number one, like with Justice here, it's almost like I just feel like there's this energy of someone not being open to other people's ideas or other people's ways of doing things. And it's almost like a realization that someone's confidence is dependent on being listened to and having people like back up sort of their projects is what I'd want to say. And I just think that someone's realizing this is coming sort of from an emotionally wounded place is what I'd want to say. I just feel like there's also a lack of patience in a way. And with the Page of Pentacles here, I'm not sure if this is a dynamic that's like someone's boss and someone underneath that, or someone's like parent and like a child. But this almost feels like a dynamic like that, where someone is really hard on someone else and it's actually because they can't process their emotions very well, and they feel very defensive against they're not very patient with other people, and it's like this feeling of this is what other people should be doing, like they see this as fair, they see this as right. And I almost feel like there's even this feeling with like the Six of Wands here of like, this is again, like where this person gets their confidence from, is from telling people what to do in this situation or like around certain things. And I don't know if this is like someone that micromanages people or something like that, but yeah, I just think someone is realizing that there's sort of an elephant in the room when it comes to why this person is the way that they are. I think this is someone that can be very like hard on other people or very impatient with them. Might not be super easy on people who are like making mistakes or are learning, because I don't think this person had people that were easy on them. I think this is someone as well that feels like their identity is very much tied to some level of success that they have around something in the physical, like being good at something specific, like work-wise or certain projects that they're doing, I guess. But yeah, it's almost this energy of being it's very hard for this person to be patient. I'm trying to even think what I'd want to go into for the extended reading with this. I want to see like what's the best. I just feel like I have a hard time believing that this is your guys' energy. Um, if it is, that's totally fine. But for the extended reading, I do want to look at. I want to see like what does this energy need to realize, or what perspective would be beneficial to them in case this is your energy. I also want to see if like the other person's energy in the situation, the one who's realizing this about the person, I want to see what the best approach is in this person or with this in this situation. Like what's their best way forward? What do they need to know? What guidance do we have in this situation? And then I just want to see what the likely outcome is of this relationship or this dynamic. So yeah, I guess I kind of want to get guidance for both sides as well. Like words for each person in this connection. And hopefully that can kind of validate whoever is maybe having to be patient with this sort of an energy. And then hopefully the person that maybe is in this sort of survival energy can get guidance on how that could be addressed. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys. I hope it's helpful. I'm going to take into the extended. Other than that, if you guys found this helpful, if you can hit the like button, leave a comment, I really appreciate it. And sorry, I'm just realizing we have Taurus energy and Aquarius, by the way, in case you guys wanted to know. And other than that, if you want to see future pick a card readings from my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. It's been an honor to read for you, and I hope to connect with you again soon. Hello, pal number 3. If you chose the Garnerite Palm Stone and the Sacred Journey of the Bees Tarot, then this is going to be a reading where we're looking at what the person on your mind is currently realizing about you. So I've already pre-pulled some oracle cards, and so I'm just going to lay them out, and I'll go into them a bit and then get some tarot cards to go more into depth. That's going to talk more specifically about the nuance of your situation. Okay, so for this group, we got the Kiss, Spring, we have the Bat, and then we have 2 of these cards. So we got Uranus with Genius, and then we have Solar Eclipse with Revolution. Okay, so the first thing that I heard was spring fever when the Kiss and Spring came through. And so some common themes in this pile definitely are this energy of, think about like the pop or like the budding of a flower, where it's like suddenly something that was, or even like the cracking of an egg, where like something that was once dormant is like zinged into life almost, is like what I'd want to say. And so there's kind of this energy in this pile of like overall a sense of change, a sense of being jolted into a new phase, and suddenly what was once sort of familiar or stagnant, or where it was once unclear of where you were going next, almost, it's almost like you're suddenly brought into awareness of what needs to be let go of and what's on the horizon, like a what's next sort of situation. So with spring really speaks of that. And so I feel like in this pile, I'm going to try to get more specific into how this has to do with you, but this is the general background or the theme that's coming through, is like the idea of winter moving into spring. And what started coming to my mind as well is like the idea of winter. Okay, let's start with fall, where it's almost like fall is the culmination of spring, where it's like summer is where it's in the full sort of expression, and then fall is when it's kind of beginning to end, but it's sort of the harvest of your work or the cycle that you're in. And then winter comes, and it's almost like the darkness is here, where it's like the sun is covered, or it's like symbolizes darkness and sort of a phase of void and not really being able to see. It's also like the womb kind of a stage. And I feel like it's something that I would say a lot of us are uncomfortable with. Like, I feel like a lot of us may cling to fall and almost want to hold on to the previous cycle and want to hold on to where we were comfortable, and almost like it's almost like we don't want to notice that the seasons are changing, and it's like one day suddenly it's dark at like 4 p.m., you know? But it's like it's very easy, I feel like, to kind of put off that realization, or and then like suddenly it's there. And so there's something here about you where the back card speaks of an energy that is very good at navigating the darkness. And it talks about having this subtle sense where it's like the bat knows what energy needs to die off and what energy is going to kind of bloom next, or like what energy is meant to thrive and what energy is meant to die off. And so there's this like vision I'm getting of maybe you and this person being different in the way that you are moving through the world, because I feel like your person is seeing you as someone that is very ready for what's next. Very like open in a sense. And I feel like it's like you're ready for a new beginning, or it's like you're ready for the new, and you're ready to let go of what the last chapter was, or what was familiar. It's like there's this energy about you that's very fresh and is almost waiting or is ready for that tower moment, or that sort of shock of lightning that brings things to life again. And it's like the aha moment. It's like I'm just picturing one person almost being apathetic or being comfortable, although not very happy, but comfortable in the winter, or comfortable in not having let go of what the last cycle was. And so I'm seeing someone in that energy, and then I'm seeing someone who's very good at navigating that energy, who is maybe even verging sometimes on impatient for what's next. But I'm not seeing it in a negative way. I think in comparison to someone who has a hard time transitioning, adapting to the new, releasing the old so we can let the new in, there's a whole theme here around death leading to rebirth and change coming whether or not we want it. And it's almost like the last chance, where it's like you've already had your warnings of change. It's like you've already been told about, like, and I'm seeing just different symbolism as like there's this deck, I don't know if you guys have this deck, but it talks about like I don't even know what to call it, but it's called like yellowing, or even like autumn. It's like it's the phase where it's the beginning of the end, and you're seeing all these signals. Like, for example, the trees lose their leaves during fall, and it's like a sign that things are ending, or we're ending a cycle essentially. But it's almost like, imagine an energy that was ignoring it or didn't want to see that, and that they didn't, and so then they're closed off to what's next because they are not ready to let go of the previous cycle. But I feel like they're realizing your ability to do this. So I just want to get more tarot just to get more specifics into this. And I wonder if I feel like this is probably like a lover situation, because the kiss really talks about sort of an electrified energy right before you're about to like kiss someone for the first time, or just the energy before your first kiss, where it's like something in you changes forever. Like, that's what the card talks about. And it's kind of like that initiatory experience. And then I'm also thinking about like spring fever, or like where people are more likely to, I literally looked up spring fever, and I'm just seeing sort of like a restlessness and sort of like people being in a frenzy, kind of an energy of like where crushes are in the air or something like that. And it's also like the season of like Valentine's Day too. But yeah, so I'm just not sure exactly if you are the person who was open to the new, or if you were the person who might have been resisting intimacy because of resisting change, and almost wanting to be oblivious to one, because there's other factors in someone's life that they want to be oblivious. They don't want to let go of the past almost, or they don't want to realize that things are going to have to change anyways. It's almost like they might be closed off to or rejecting of a new love or a new romance or that feeling. It's like they almost feel like that represents the truth being that the last cycle is over. And so, yeah, I just feel like there was one person who was more resistant to that. But yeah, that's what I'm getting. So I'm not sure if one person, sorry, I'm just getting my words twisted up. Let's get the tarot and we'll get more specific. And I'm kind of seeing an energy like, it's kind of like when you're not ready to be happy again or something, or it's almost like you'd rather, even though it's not exciting or you're kind of missing this like zest for life, like it's almost like I still would rather be in that state because I'm holding on to, even if sadness is my norm or like the darkness is, it's like having a hard time letting go of it. Okay, so what is pile number 3's person realizing about them? All right, we have the 5 of Pentacles with worry. We have the root of powers with, root of the powers of fire. So Ace of Wands. What is pile number 3's person realizing? We have the 6 of Wands, victory. Yeah, I'm really feeling this. Okay, what else? We have the 3 of Wands. Yeah, this is making sense to me. And I feel like this is really speaking to that sort of spark energy. And so I'm not surprised to see the Ace of Wands, because there is this energy of like an aha moment or like a inspiration. And I feel like with the 3 of Wands being here, and that's also Aries, Sun in Aries, which is making sense. But it's like the 3 of Wands has a what's next quality. Like you're looking to the horizon to see what's coming. And then the 6 of Wands, we have more fire energy with Leo. And it's almost like there's this confident energy coming through. So whoever is the person that, it's almost like there's a level of confidence and enthusiasm and optimism, I want to say, over a fear of change. It's like there's one energy here that is very confident moving into change and expects good things and is willing to go towards that. But then with the 5 of Pentacles, there's this opposite energy that sees change as a negative thing, or just sees change as loss, or it's hard for them to let go of things because they experience it in this 5 of Pentacle kind of an energy. And that can be like a lack mentality where, and a fear of change as well, of seeing it through a lens of something that's bad. But it's like, here's another side of that where it's like, as we go through change, we get new inspiration and new things come into the horizon. It's like a new opportunity. But anyways, what is pile number 3's person realizing? Yeah, we have the Magician. What are they realizing? We have the Hierophant, Taurus. We have the Empress. We have Death, and then we have Judgment here. Interesting. And then we have the 7 of Swords with futility. Futile. Okay. All right. So I feel like what someone is realizing about you is also something that they're realizing about themselves. So I almost feel like there's someone who maybe, I feel like you're mirroring something to this person, and I feel that you are showing them the fruits of transformation and death. We have Scorpio energy as well. Yeah, it's they're realizing that you have this beautiful energy where you flow with changes in death, and it's like they're having a realization of the truth of that. And I feel like with judgment here, judgment also speaks to like the wisdom that you learn right before the end of a cycle, and how you kind of like, it's almost represents the culmination of that cycle that you've been in. And it's also through that realization, do you get to move on to the next sort of cycle that you're in, or that it's almost like mastering one cycle and moving to the next cycle. And so there's like an energy of what's next. And that's also how wisdom is gained. But there's also this energy with the Empress here of abundance and receptivity and self-love, along with, I'm getting like the mother nature sort of aspect. It's like they're realizing that there's this flow with the cycles of life and moving through life in this graceful sort of an energy where you transform. It's like the magician. It's like instead of focusing on what is going wrong or what's changing or what you're losing, I almost feel like they're seeing the power in that, and how it's this spark to create new. And it's almost like the materials are breaking down back to their, like, what I'm seeing to describe this is like when you allow something to break down back to its elements, then you get to reuse those elements to create something new. And so that's kind of also like the first act of creation is first destruction. Like, unless there's destruction in the break of letting what needs to end, that's what allows us to create. And I feel like what I'm also seeing is like the creator archetype from the Wild Unknown Archetypes guidebook. And I'll just bring it out, and it talks about how it's like this person is seeing you in this light. So it talks about the artist, the alchemist, and the innovator. And I feel like this person does see you as an innovator, especially with Uranus coming through. I feel like you have this sort of like genius energy to you where you're very inspired. But I feel like with this person, they're learning a lesson about alchemy and how to be confident, and how to like, it's almost like thinking about alchemy, how do I even put alchemy into words? But it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing where you can transmute energy and use it to your benefit, in a sense, not in a selfish way, but in a way where you get to manifest, essentially. So you can become a very strong manifester by allowing things to transform and actively participating in the transformation of energy. So this is what we have. So the creator, the first archetype in the trio of existence, is not intimidated by darkness or lack. Yes, 100%. And that's what I'm getting, is that they're realizing this about you, that you're able to sit with the discomfort of darkness and lack, essentially. So it says, they know that from this void, and so from winter, creation inevitably emerges. And that's, again, for me, like the bud of the flower, or like the new merging. So it says, with meager, minimal, and outlandish materials, the creator reveals a new image. They make the empty room resonate with healing sounds. They generate bounty from the seed that others tossed away. Through generative, this archetype annihilates preconceived notions of what is possible, leaving openings in the wake of its destruction. That's how they view you, 100%. It's like staying open to what's possible and trusting that through the destruction, something new is born, something important is born, like something incredible, essentially. So it says the creator does this first by being absolutely present to what is, not imagining or wishing that things were different. And I feel like the person we're talking about, may sometimes struggle to stand in their power or manifest, or to let go. Like they may sometimes feel like they lose their spark or that they're feeling burdened. And I feel like that can be from focusing on what is ending or what you're losing or what's going wrong, or just it's almost like struggling against the energy. And I feel like the creator flows with the energy. And so it says, so I feel like this person that we're talking about may struggle to accept things and adapt to, because they struggle to accept things where they are, they may struggle to adapt with it. So it says, the second thing, they trust that a force greater than them awaits constant collaboration with each human soul. Whether we call it nature, God, goddess, Shakti, or divinity, it remains nameless. It is the creator's lifelong companion. So curious, playful, open, surprising. Yeah, and so the word that came through actually a lot in these cards is surprising. And so there's this surprising quality to you, because it's like out of nowhere that emerges. Does that make sense? Where it's almost like you're shocking and surprising to this person, because it's like just when you think everything is one way, you manifest or you alchemize that energy into the new. And so they're realizing this power that you have. And I feel like with the Seven of Swords here, I feel like this person is also, though, having a realization about themselves, or it's like they're comparing their own energy in a sense. And I feel like with the Seven of Swords, it's almost like there's an avoidance of the truth of things. And I feel like with the creator here, it talks about there's a need to see things exactly as they are and to almost surrender to what you have to work with and to not seek to strategize. It's not a strategization where you're like being tricky or something, because it's like the Seven of Swords can talk about strategy and trying to reach your aims through a roundabout way or sneaking around. And for me, that makes me think of someone that doesn't have what they need for this is just like an idea or like an example, but it's like, imagine the energy of not having what you need. And so you think you have to sneak or strategize your way to what you're trying to create or what you want. And there's this different way though with the creator, with the magician here, where it's like, no, we work with exactly what we have. Like, even if it is the destruction of the past cycle, even if it doesn't make sense yet, even if I don't get how it's going to come together, even if it looks like I have these 4 random items that don't go together, I'm going to be the source that creates something from it. And it's like the spark of life. I'm going to put the spark of life into it. And I feel like with the Hierophant here, there's almost this person seeing the way that you don't. Okay, this is actually really interesting because I watched Ratatouille last night. And okay, that's actually really oddly very significant, or like that's very specific to this reading, because there's a lot of themes that are coming through. And so the first thing that I'm thinking about is the shock that and I hope you guys have seen Ratatouille. If you haven't, like 10 out of 10 movie, but you know the part where what's it called? Actually, sorry, I'm like really like getting a download about this. So, you know, in the kitchen towards the end where they find out that a rat was what was actually the creative force behind all of the good dishes, and everyone walks out and quits, and then all of the rats come together and they work the kitchen the entire night and no one knows about it. And then at the very end, and that's when the critic is there that night and he loves the food and he's like, I want to meet the chef. And then there's this like shock of the chef being a rat. And it's like, he has to sit there, and that is a shock. Like, that is Uranus energy. Like, that is like, this is crazy. This is genius. Like, because the rat was genius. And it wasn't traditional. It's like, it wasn't the way things had been done. And it's almost like, imagine if in that movie, imagine if they gave up and were like, well, looks like we're just going to lose the restaurant. It's going to be shut down. Instead, they used the materials and the people that they had to create a brand new concept. And then from that, then the person that was like the critic of the food, he invests in a brand new concept where like the rats are a part of the restaurant, and it's called like Ratatouille, like at the very end. And so I feel like that was a story of like creation and creativity and how it can come from the most unexpected places, and it doesn't always have to follow the traditional way. And so I also feel like with the Hierophant here, it's like, this is revolution. It's like, that was revolutionary that the rat, like, that the rat was the chef. And like, for example, if you think about the other character in that, like the short guy that wants to have the restaurant to himself, but is afraid that it's going to go to Gusteau's son. He's the one who's scheming around with the Seven of Swords. He's trying to strategize and scheme so he can get what he wants. That's like the opposite way. You know what I mean? Where it's kind of like a tricky thing where you're going to, because you're afraid that you don't have what you need to get your goal. It's like, you're going to sneak around like that and kind of be shady. It's like, there's this other beautiful creative energy that, can turn this like Five of Pentacle moment, which was where they were clearly going to lose the restaurant because everyone was quitting and they had rats in the kitchen, into the brand new thing. It's like, this is what's next. Like, this was going to work. And there's also a lot of scenes in that movie where what works is when there's like okay, sorry. I don't know why I'm having a hard time speaking, but it's like when they're supposed to recreate Chef Gusteau's recipes, the thing that Remy the rat does every time is he changes the recipe, and he brings something exciting, new, and different, and everyone's like, oh my God, like, why did you change the recipe not knowing it was the rat anyways? And then it ends up working, and it's like, where are you getting this genius from? Like, what is this genius? And so that's the element I'm speaking about, like that sort of genius element where it's like, how did you think of that? Or how did that unexpected, how did you consider that genius solution? You know what I mean? And it's like a shock though, because it's so different and so radical, but it works. And there's this adaptability that goes with it, where it's like, if you're able to flow with hardship and being sort of the underdog or at odds, or, you know, in a situation that maybe isn't ideal, it's like you can still create victory in a sense. And it's almost like if you cling, no, that's just like what this person is realizing about you, is what I'd want to say. Yeah, this truly creative. Yeah, so we have the creator is naturally attractive and coveted as its energy zings with possibility. There's a zing to you. It says you can feel when a creator type enters the room. All eyes land on them. Yeah, recommit to childlike curiosity and nix all the rules. This person feels like you have that kind of an energy to you where, yeah, it's like they see you as a lover that's like this. And if it's not a lover situation, I don't know. But I'm just seeing that there's this energy of possibility and confidence and all eyes on you. And that makes sense with the Six of Wands here. It's like you're very admirable as a person, not because of following a tradition, but because you are a genius creator, and not even if you aren't a creator in a traditional way. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't say it any better than those sort of themes that are coming through. So I want to see for the extended reading, like how this realization impacts how they view this connection. I want to see how this person feels towards you. And then I just want to see anything else you need to know about this person or this connection in order to move forward. Anything that you don't currently know, and then just overall guidance for you. So if you guys are interested in that, I will have it linked down below. But other than that, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciated doing this reading for you. If you're able to hit the like button or comment on the video, I really do appreciate it. And if you want to see future pick a card readings from this channel, I would love for you to subscribe. Other than that, thank you so much, and I hope to connect again soon.